and welcome to new IT Conversations. In this video, we're going to talk about VCF 9. My name is Johan, I'm the Chief Evangelist at ITQ, and together with me is my colleague Erik.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Chief Architect in the CTO office. So Erik, we're going to dive into VCF 9.
Yeah.
You being a VCDX, Broadcom Knight, and a VCF expert, can you kind of guide us through the basics? What is VCF?
What is VCF? Yeah, that's a great question. Well, VMware Cloud Foundation 9 is the private cloud offering of VMware. And what it does, it brings a cloud operating model into your on-premises data center. So it combines the scalability, agility, flexibility of a public cloud with the security and compliancy of a private cloud.
So what is a private cloud? Because we've been talking about on-premises data centers for a while, but a private cloud is somewhat the same, but it's also different. So what is a private cloud?
Yeah, it's not a location. It's like an operating model.
Right.
Yeah, so it can be in your own on-premise data center, but it could also be like a data center of a service partner, a cloud service partner. And it is all about bringing the operating model of your data center on how you do operations, automation, security, compliance, all that kind of stuff, how you do that in your environment, basically.
So basically offering kind of a hyperscaler experience to the kind of the on-prem data center, or the
combining the best of both, basically.
The best of both worlds. Yeah. And that doesn't really matter, only from, for instance, the interface perspective. So me as a consumer of such a private cloud, I get the same kind of self-service experience.
Yeah.
But also from an IT perspective, it means that you're going to kind of offer the same experience as from a hyperscaler, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So what it does, it brings like a unified cloud experience for the developers. So you get a single interface in which you can deploy VMs, containers, applications, databases, all the application stuff you want. And at the same time, it enables the IT teams to efficiently manage the environment at scale.
So what kind of customers can benefit from such a private cloud offering?
Well, a private cloud offering is, if you look at the key capabilities of a private cloud, they are all focused on security, compliance, performance, automation. So those are the key capabilities. And if you look at the ideal customer for a private cloud, you look into like the financial sector, healthcare, automation, the automotive industries, all government agencies, all the industries looking to have a grip on cost, control, and compliancy.
Right, so those are kind of the main factors why customers would implement a private cloud based on VCF?
Yeah, I think that's almost a year ago, Hochtal made a blog post in which he talked about the 3 C's, cost, complexity, and compliancy. And those are basically the main IT challenges of every organization looking to implement a private cloud.
Right. So looking specifically at VCF, what components does it consist of?
Yeah, basically, what is VCF?
What is VCF? Yeah.
That's a great question. Well, VCF 9 is a unified cloud platform, and it's built on top of proven VMware products like vSphere, vSAN, NSX, and the ARIA suite. And what it does, it has it is based on industry best practices. So it's based on the VMware validated design that used to be a big thing, and VCF is based on top of that validated design with an automation framework on top of it. So if you want to deploy VCF, for example, you don't do a manual deployment of ESX, vCenter, NSX. It's all from one single console in which you basically hit the button, and then the deployment will automatically deploy VCF for you. So that is, basically VCF in the foundation bit. And on top of the foundation or the core offering, you've got advanced services like load balancing, private AI, advanced security. Well, there's a lot more, but those are the most compelling ones.
And why version 9? Because we're talking about version 9, but there's no such thing, I think, as a VCF version 8, right? So
nope.
Where does the version 9 came from?
Where does it came? Yeah, if you look at the current release, it's 5.2.
Yeah.
So and then it's a big jump to version 9. But if you bring it down to the basics, it's like feature 8 is the version right now in VCF 5. The next version will contain feature 9, and they made the decision to use the 9 release for all products, and which is also makes it like because if you look at the different releases now, you've got feature 8, NSX 4.2, I believe, the RX Suite, they all have different version numberings, but VCF 9 is a complete single offering. So that's why they decided to make it just 9, and we'll use the 9 version for all the components as well, just to make sure that everybody knows VCF is not a collection of different solutions, it's a single solution.
It's a single solution.
Yeah.
So looking at the previous version of VCF that consisted out of vSphere, vCenter, NSX, the ARIA suite, so ARIA operations and automation, login site,
operation for networks,
operation for networks,
vSAN,
NSX, vSAN. Am I missing anything there? But it's basically a bundle of those kind of solutions, but now as a single offering, right?
Yeah, and that's what they have always promised with VCF. Like it's a single, a unified experience, what they call it. And if you look at all the development, they try to actually make it a unified experience, but there's still a lot of single consoles. If you want to do something in NSX, you need to log in into NSX. If you want to do something in ARIA automation, you've got the ARIA automation console. And with VCF 9, they all brought this together to really create a unified experience for everyone. So, for example, what they will be changing as well, the 2 main components of VCF will be VCF operations and VCF automation. So those are the 2 main components for operations and automation side of view of VCF. And if you want to do a cluster expansion, or you want to deploy VMs, you use those 2 consoles instead of directly going into vCenter and adding hosts. You do everything from VCF operations or in VCF automation.
And for the kind of the traditional admins who are kind of still used to using the vCenter GUI, or are using an API interface or another consumption interface to deploy workloads, are they still able to do that through kind of the old way of doing things?
That is still possible, yeah.
That's
so
still
there's
possible,
a two-way sync between vCenter and VCF operations. So everything you do in vCenter will get synced back into VCF operations, so it still knows, well, if you remove the host, if you edit the host, it will still come up in the VCF operations console. So if you're now used to using vCenter to manage your host, that is still possible, yeah.
But the big advantage of doing it through kind of the new way, through operations and automation, is that if you would spin up a new virtual machine or a new application, it takes all sorts of extra information into account. Do you have the right, the right amount of resources available, or the right regulations or rules around security or availability, stuff like that?
Yeah, that's twofold. That's the same thing again for the IT admins. It's a lot easier to deploy hosts. If you do it manually, you need to do the network stuff you need to do yourself, the storage stuff. If you do it from VCF operations, that will all be done for you automatically. So you just say, I want a new host. You make sure that the host is installed with EasyXI, and then that's everything you need to do. Just import it in VCF, and then say, I want to expand this cluster with these hosts, and then everything is done for you. All the creation of the vSAN data stores, the networking, all the configuration stuff you want, that is all done automatically within VCF.
And this is specifically what you mean with like the private cloud operating model, or the operating model of clouds, of a hyperscaler, but then in your own kind of environment, your private cloud. Okay, so what are some of the key use cases that you see that customers can benefit from?
Well, the key use cases can basically be separated into 3 areas. So the first one would be modernized infrastructure. So that is a lot of this private cloud concept we are talking about right now. So a lot of automation in the infrastructure, maybe expanding into a hybrid cloud proposition. So being able to move your workloads into a public cloud offering. So that would be the first one. The second one would be providing the unified cloud experience. So you get a single console and where you can do all the stuff you want to do, and basically the same offerings you get from a public cloud. So, for example, if you look at the developers, if you look at the public cloud, how they use it, they will have just a single UI, a single console, and we see they deploy VMs, containers, databases, you name it. That's the same experience you will get in VCF. And the last one would be security. So if you look at VCF 9, there's a lot of security aspects already in the product. So a lot of out-of-the-box hardening, a lot of security functionality already included in VCF, and that's also a key use case to use VCF.
So you triggered me there with the security aspect of VCF 9. Many of our customers have security-related priorities on their agenda. Many of the C-level executives within organizations have security top of mind. So what are some of the aspects of VCF 9 that address those priorities for our customers?
Oh, that's a great question again, Johan. If you, well, like you mentioned, cybersecurity is a big topic in many industries for many organizations, and if you look at VCF 9, what it actually brings, it's quite a lot. So there's out-of-the-box hardening for all components within VCF.
And that's not just the component of VCF 9 itself, but also, like if you deploy an application, hardening of virtual machines or containers will automatically be applied as well.
Yeah, that's like integrated risk management, security compliancy. So for example, if you have certain regulations in which you need to comply, for example PCI or some ISO standards, you can use VCF to make sure that not only your infrastructure but also your applications comply with those standards. So it's out of the box available again. What they also did is if you look at the NSX product, there's also some security features within NSX. So you get lateral security within all the applications you deploy. So you can do it's basically like each VM will get its own firewall in the hypervisor, so from the platform, so which you can secure all the workloads in VCF.
And with lateral security, you mean like if an object moves within your private cloud, security will move with it, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it doesn't matter where your VM is; it always has the same set of security rules, which goes with the VM itself. Yeah, that's correct. Right. Yeah, and on top of those security, you also got advanced threat protection. So if you want to do advanced security offerings like IDS, EPS, or web application firewall, that's also possible with VCF.
What about the DR side of things? I mean, many of the customers we talk to have challenges or get headaches or nightmares when they think about ransomware. So what about the ransomware side of things? How can we address that?
That's again a very good question, because like you said, disaster recovery has always been more focused on making sure my VM is available in case of a disaster, but now we can see a shift into using disaster recovery also for security purposes. We can see ransomware protection is a big topic again, and VCF also enables that with an add-on service in VMware Live Cyber Recovery or VMware Live Recovery, and that includes different products to create your disaster recovery solution with an extension into security. So if you look into VMware Live Cyber Recovery, for example, that's a cloud-based offering in which you can replicate your VMs into an isolated recovery environment, and on that recovery environment you can also do ransomware detection, advanced security features again, just to make sure that everything you replicated to that environment is also secure.
Okay, so when it comes to the security side of things, it's perfectly clear what benefits customers get from it. Yep. What about the other benefits? What are some of the benefits that we see at the customer side of things?
Well, another benefit will be focused on the operation side of things. So if you look at VCF and all the automation that's built around VCF, it's a lot easier to manage the private cloud instead of like we said earlier, manually deploying hosts or adding hosts. It's all done from VCF, all automatically done. So the amount of effort it takes to manage or to operate your environment is a lot less with VCF.
Which increases predictability, reduces errors that can happen.
Yep.
So especially talking from the kind of the overhead to your IT teams, that will definitely be lowered.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it will make sure that the platform is robust and resiliency, so it enhances that, but it also makes sure that the IT team has time free or has extra time to actually create benefits for the company instead of just maintaining the environment.
Yeah, I think that really makes sense. One thing that I kind of also would definitely like to highlight is that VCF is not just about virtual machines and containers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when it comes to, and that's one of the things that Hawk 10 said at one of the Explores quite recently, they're building up VCF to be a platform that kind of offers also like the top 10 microservices that you can consume from a hyperscaler as well. And that's what also some of the things that we're currently already seeing the VCF 9 release, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. If you look at the traditional on-premises deployments, it's just VMs. But VMs is not enough anymore.
No.
I think every organization is looking into containers, microservices, database as a service, and that is all available from VCF as well. So if you want to deploy Kubernetes clusters, you can do it in VCF. If you want to deploy database as a service, you can do it in VCF.
Like a MySQL or Postgres or something else.
That's correct, yeah.
Right.
And if you want to have, on top of those services, you want to, for example, enable your AI workloads, that's also possible.
Right,
yeah.
And that's native in VCF?
Native in VCF, yeah. All from this really unified experience, yeah.
So how does this kind of relate to what the competition is doing? Is there a competitor to VCF, to be fairly honest?
It depends on how you look at it, but...
looking at the cloud operating model as one.
Yeah, if you look at the entire private cloud concept, the only competitor you have basically is the public cloud. So it's the same cloud operating model you use in the public cloud, you use it in the private cloud. So if you look at that perspective, so the competitors are the public cloud, what the private cloud has to offer is that same cloud operating model, but with additional benefits of being in control of your cost, compliancy, performance. So that's the added benefit. So are there any competitors? Well, if you look at, like I said, if you look at the public clouds, you get a lot more than just the cloud operating model.
Right. So, kind of if customers are excited after this video, they want to start, how can they start? How can they consume VCF?
Well, that's really easy.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well. If you want to consume VCF, it's like I said, it's based on the VMware validated design, so the industry best practices. You will get a standard design with an automated deployment model on top of it. So you need to make sure that all the prerequisites are in place, and then you do your deployment. Then you're done in a couple of hours instead of doing days in the configuration process, doing ESXi and NSX. But that's now done in just a few hours, and then you get. Well, the foundation is then deployed and you can start consuming VCF.
What about scaling out? So if a customer, for instance, has an infrastructure based on VCF for their regular workloads, but now suddenly they want to scale out to an kind of an AI cluster, if you will. Mm-hmm. How does that work then?
Well, that's basically the same concept. So if you have your foundation in place and you want to add, to add the ability for additional workloads. For example, you want an additional cluster with hosts which contain GPUs for AI workloads. It's just a question of logging into VCF operations, making sure that you got all the prereqs in place, saying, well, I want a new cluster. Follow the wizard, and then in a couple hours you're done. You get.
You don't have to touch anything.
You don't have to touch anything. That's correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's from installing ESXi to configuring the cluster, vCenter, NSX, the ARIA suite,
NTP,
NTP, DNS. It's always DNS. Everything is done for you. Yeah.
Okay, so it's very simple to consume VCF and to scale it out and to deploy, new workload domains. Is it still called a workload domain?
It's still called a workload domain,
yeah. Do you have an idea on kind of the insight, or do you have insights on what's next with VCF?
Yeah. Well, with VCF 9, it basically marks a new beginning for VCF. Well, like we already discussed, that's why the version 9 and not 6 or 7. And what will happen is, well, this is a first release of VCF 9, and that includes a lot of new functionality. but it will only expand in later releases as well. So what you can expect is that there will be an expansion on the ability to import non-VCF environments into VCF. That is already possible right now, but not all types of environments can be imported. So they will expand on being able to basically import all kinds of non-VCF environments. The unified experience will be expanded as well. So expect a lot of integration into the other IO suite solutions as well into VCF. So it really gets a single console for all the different solutions. And the last one would be expansion on the data protection capabilities. So a lot of done into vSAN data protection capabilities and the ability to integrate live recovery into that as well.
Awesome. Well, I am beyond excited about VCF and VCF 9 in particular.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Erik, thanks so much for sharing.
Yep.
So if you'd like to know more about VCF 9, you know where to find us. For now, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.